Hi everyone, my name is Sam Warren and I am the Outreach Coordinator at Indiana Audubon Society. And basically what that means is that I am in charge of teaching people about birds. So basically programs like this where I get to talk to you classrooms and kids and even adults about how awesome birds are and hopefully get them interested in them and helping conserve them as well. So today I was tasked with giving you guys a under 10-minute presentation about the awesome world of birds, which is a lot of information and because they're so cool. But I chose to focus on one topic, migration. So we're going to talk a little bit about some migration marvels and give you a really quick snapshot of this incredible avian voyage and what it means for birds. And then kind of talking about how the work you guys have been doing with eBird and Feeder Watch helps scientists learn about bird migration. So first of all, migration basically means seasonal movements. About 40% of the world's bird population or bird species migrate. Basically in the spring, they migrate north. This is to kind of get, as food becomes more abundant, temperatures are better up here. It's not freezing cold and things like that. They'll migrate north, and then by the summer, they'll reach their breeding and nesting grounds, and that's where birds will spend their time raising their young and just hanging out and enjoying the nice northern summers. But then as it gets colder in the winter or in the fall, they obviously want to move back down south. So there's another migration that happens in the fall. And then once they've reached their wintering grounds, I kind of call this their vacation time because the birds aren't necessarily breeding or nesting. They're just hanging out in their wintering grounds, usually someplace warm, enjoying the lots of food and warm weather. Birds navigate north and south by using the sun, the stars, different landmarks such as, rivers, mountains, big lakes, coastlines, things like that. Some birds even use magnetic fields, so kind of like a compass uses the magnetic North Pole to tell you where you're going. They can do that as well and use those magnetic fields to get north and south. So many different things that birds can use. And again, I'm just kind of doing a quick snapshot to give you an idea. And if you're interested of learning more, there's tons more about how birds navigate from north to south. But some birds can migrate really long distances. So I'm going to show you guys a video of different bird species migrating from North and South America and back again. So here in this video, each dot is one species of bird, and it's running through the seasons. And here we're at about spring migration. As you can see, they're all moving northward. A bunch of them, some of them maybe only go to South America, but a lot of them go all the way up top here. And then they're coming back down in the fall, and they go all the way back down, maybe the Caribbean to Central America, or even Southern America or South America as well. So some of these bird species are making tremendous migration routes, and some of them do it very quickly in, maybe a few weeks, or can fly nonstop for tons of thousands of miles, but some of them take a little bit longer as well in the fall. It just kind of depends on the bird species, but the incredible things that they're doing. The next question is, how do birds know when to go, right? There are multiple different factors, including maybe day length, temperature, food supplies. You don't see many robins up here before the ground thaws, before they can get to those worms, or you don't see many Baltimore Orioles like this guy here. You don't see many of those until the insects start showing up or are soon to hatch. They need food, they need warm weather and things like that. Another thing that gets them going is just kind of genetics. Scientists can't predict for sure, but we think that they just kind of know when to go. And then another cool thing is that they have an abundance of hormones that get triggered. So what happens is photoreceptors in their brain trigger a tremendous release of hormones that send them into this state that's called hyperphagia. It basically makes them extremely excited, like very jittery, almost like something's going to happen, anxious. Their appetite increases. They eat a ton of food in preparation for going on this long migration route and this long journey. They need all the energy they can get. And then one day their body, with the other natural factors, just says it's time to go, and they start heading north or south, depending on the migration time. Another thing that's really cool that happens with migration is molting. They molt their feathers. So I like to call this seasonal fashions. In the spring, birds are very brightly colored. Mostly, it's the males that are brightly colored for two reasons mainly. One reason is that the females want to be camouflaged. They want to sit on the nest, so they don't want to be brightly colored and potentially cause predators to see their babies easier. And another reason is that the males really just want to attract the females and get a mate. They want to get a girlfriend. So this is two pictures of two different male warblers. On the left, we have a black-poll warbler, and on the right is a bay-breasted warbler. And this is what they look like in spring, or what they look like right now if you see them come through Indiana. So you can ID them pretty easily. They're really awesome, really pretty. But in the fall, what happens is they change their colors. They molt their feathers. Those hormones trigger that. And their fall fashion is much different. So those same birds, when they come back through Indiana in the fall, will look like this. So this is the exact same black-poll warbler on the left and the black bay-breasted warbler on the right. Totally different birds. I'll show you the pictures again from the previous. This is what they look like in the spring when you see them. And then when they come back through in the fall, totally different. So if you're wondering, when you see, if you're like, oh, I think I only see these brightly colored birds in the spring, you're actually seeing them in the fall too. You probably just don't recognize them as well because they're much more drab colored. They're using their energy to stockpile food and get back farther south. They've already got their girlfriends. They don't need to mate. They're just going to their vacation time. What's really cool about Indiana birds in particular is that we have this funnel effect. Indiana has recorded over 420 bird species, which is an incredible amount for one state. And the reason that happens is because we have this really huge landmark. We have Lake Michigan, which creates a funnel effect for these birds. Again, like I said, they use landmarks to do their migration. So basically Lake Michigan is a giant landmark and it attracts all these birds to come to it and funnels them through it. Some of them go around it, some of them go over it, but either way, they're hitting Indiana and we're seeing tons of different bird species, which means we sometimes get rare ones too, like this rosette spoonbill that's often only found in Florida for some reason came up here, and this Anna's hummingbird that came all the way from California. And these don't happen extremely often, but we are a huge migratory route because of Lake Michigan and that huge landmark that's attracting birds on their migration. And one of the coolest phenomenons that Indiana has is the sandhill crane migration. So there are two populations of sandhill cranes, and we know this because of eBird, which you guys have been using as well. So because of citizen scientists like you that have been importing or submitting their checklist and sightings of sandhill cranes, eBird is able to create these migration maps, basically showing where sandhill cranes are going and the different populations of them during their migration. So we found out, and of course just by sightings and seeing so many sandhill cranes in Indiana, but basically this map confirmed that we get almost the entire eastern population of sandhill cranes coming through Indiana. So I'm going to play this video once just to show you, and I want you to focus on the Florida migration here. So the darker the color, the more sandhill cranes. And again, this is all from eBird populations and people submitting checklists. So if you watch the Florida migration, you can see then they poof through Indiana and they're basically using Lake Michigan as that landmark. And then in the fall, they do the same thing. They're all coming back down through Indiana as a funnel. So they just go all the way down there. Some of them stay in Indiana over the winter. And if you really want to see an amazing feat of migration in the sandhill cranes, go to a place called Jasper-Pulaski Fish and Wildlife Area in Indiana. Go there in the fall. You can see upwards of 30,000 cranes in a single day because of that. And I'll play it one more time just so you can see. So this is the entire eastern population of sandhill cranes. And this is from eBird data over time that they've put together. So from citizen scientists like you guys, and then coming back through in the fall, tons of sandhill cranes in Indiana, even spending their winters there. So what can you do to help the birds? Well, one of the biggest things during migration is to turn out your lights. The artificial lights confuse the birds and they're more likely to run into windows and bigger buildings and things like that. So if you turn out your lights, that helps them a lot. And then also helping to conserve habitat. Using eBird, we're able to see where these birds are going and what habitats they're using and really focus in on what places we need to conserve and things like that. So turning out your lights and trying to conserve as much habitat, even in small pockets, as much as possible, is going to help these birds, especially during migration on their long routes. And that was really quick about migration and quick snapshot of it. I think I exceeded my 10 minutes a little bit. I apologize, but thank you guys so much. And I hope to talk to you guys again soon during your live presentation. And I hope you will bring questions for me about birds, and whether it's about migration or anything in general during those live conversations. So thanks again, and I hope to see you soon.